Grifter number 12, written by Rob Liefeld and Frank Thierry, art by Scott Clark. Last issue we left off with Grifter, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't even remember the name of the other guy, being taken hostage by Hellspont and Nico, who betrayed them. This issue is just Hellspont, torturing Grifter for a little while, and then tossing him into a cell, and he's narrating to himself, it seems to the outside observer like I've got nothing that I can do here, but oh boy, you'd be surprised what I can do with nothing. And then we just get Singe, Nico, and Hellspont all talking to each other about hey, yep, everything's going according to plan. We're gonna try to use Grifter as the chosen one, which he is still the chosen one here, and we're going to use that to take out the Daemonites, because Hellspont was actually rejected and exiled by the Daemonites forever ago. So he's like, yep, I will soon get my revenge, so I'm going to go talk to Grifter myself and see what we can deal with him. So they walk over. By the way, the other guy's name was Deathblow. Sure, why not? Anyway, so at that point, they're like, hey, Deathblow, be ready. I got a plan. And he's like, all right, am I going to notice? And he's like, yeah, it's going to be totally awesome. So Hellspawn steps in, and he's like, hey, turns out we have a common enemy. How would you like to work with me? And Grifter just laughs in his face, saying, you're literally a flaming skull. I'm not going to work with you. And he's like, psh, whatever. I'll just kill you then. You suck. Yeah, I don't even need you. Bye. And just walks off in a huff. But then Grifter's like, hey, you know where I got my name? Grifter? It means con man. It means what I do is I fool people. I fool people like you. And so then Grifter, he keeps on talking for 3 more pages here, but in the end he's like, all right, here's the thing. I let you capture me. Yeah, as it turns out, I was holding back in my fight against Singe and Nico, and I actually have a great deal of control over my powers. Let me show you. So then he blasts out an energy blast. Him and Deathblow start just pushing their way through the Daemonite groups and using whatever machinery they find along the way to fight back. Nico attacks Deathblow, and they have a whole thing of you betrayed us and blah, blah, blah. And apparently Nico did it all because she wanted to be able to survive once Hellspont does whatever his ridiculous revenge plan is. And then Grifter literally has a stare down with Hellspont, says you want some? And Singe jumps in the way saying, let me deal with this, master. And then Grifter just goes yoink and flips Singe out of the way, saying I told you, I'm not holding back anymore. So they get into a brief little fight, and for some reason Hellspont, he's blaming Hellspont for murdering his brother, which on a whole Daemonite level I get, but they made it pretty explicitly clear that Hellspont is not with the other Daemonites, so I don't entirely understand why he's blaming Hellspont, unless I'm missing a part of the story here, but that's entirely possible. So anyway, at a certain point here, he crashes down all this weaponry on top of Hellspont, and it actually makes him look like a Daemonite for a second, which was interesting, but they don't focus on it for all that long. And then they make their way out to an escape pod and set the Deathblow. He laid out a bunch of explosives at some point in here, and he sets them all to blow up, and they cause a big explosion. They're like, yeah, we did it. We destroyed the mothership. Huzzah. Hellspawn's no more. And they fly away in their escape pod. But then we see that it turns out they didn't explode the mothership. It was just a tiny little decoy, and the mothership was actually cloaked, right behind them. So then it decloaks, and they're like, Hellspawn's totally fine. And he's like, but you thought you were playing me. I was playing you. Now I know what I'm dealing with for sure, and I can better prepare next time. Sure. Have I ever expressed my disdain for Hellspont as a villain? I feel like I may have. Here's the thing. I am okay with the concept of Hellspawn. I'm okay with, all right, we have the villain group of Daemonites, and then we also have this other guy who also hates them, but for different reasons, but he's also evil. I'm okay with the concept in general. My biggest problem here is that he's done nothing. In his battle with Superman, he did nothing. In this story, he's done nothing. He's shown up in a few places, and guess what he's done? A lot of nothing. I genuinely don't understand, like, what the whole thing with like the black curate and all that stuff. While I didn't completely understand it, it built it up. It was setting up this thing of like these, here's why the black curate is strong, and it showed their power. It showed when they emerged that they had this unbelievable power to them. But then Hellspawn shows up and he literally can't deal with one dude with some telekinetic abilities who just learned about them earlier this week. Like, he is a pushover, and I genuinely do not feel like he is a big bad. And nobody's done anything to deal with that. Do I blame Rob Liefeld for that specifically? No. I don't blame Frank Thierry. I don't blame anybody who's particularly writing him. But I feel like they are relying on some knowledge of what Hellspawn was before the New 52 without actually doing anything to get him working here. So I'm going to blame the issue a little bit on that. Art-wise, it's okay. It's not blowing me away. I do actually, in all the ways that Hellspawn's been drawn, I do think this is the best looking he's been, the most stylized. It is interesting, at least, and everybody else looks fine as well. The only thing I have trouble with is a little bit of the action. It doesn't flow too terribly well, but it looks fine. So overall, I would say this one it's going to get a 5.5 from me, and honestly, I think that it's just because they've been throwing too much too quick here. They didn't want to take the time. I feel like they felt that Grifter was going to be canceled at like issue 12, and so they're like, all right, we got to get everything going now. And then like an issue ago, they were told, no, guys, you have a little while longer. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we've kind of already set this one up, so let's just wrap this up, and then we'll actually give some more characterization. I think they probably were going to kill Deathblow in the original script, but hey, whatever. So yeah, it's low. It's 5.5. Whatever.